the launch event for the phase 1 of the certification program, which is a partnership between the Capital Markets Authority and the Chartered Institute for Securities and Investments out of the UK. It is the testing and professional standards body of choice in the City of London and in a growing number of international financial centers around the world. So the authority has been very, very honored to have worked with them on developing an international standards program for Kenya that is not only the cutting and pasting of what is internationally adopted, but also making sure that we're also catering for a refinement or alignment of the same to local realities, so that as we urge everyone to go through this, it is not only supporting portability so that those who pass this qualification could work in any international financial center around the world, but also it is making sure that there's a continuous insight into making sure that we are strengthening the domestic practices, the quality of service, the quality of professionalism, and overall the ethics and integrity that are operating in our market in Kenya.
We've been trying to strike a balance with this qualification, which is, on the one hand, internationally transferable, and that's really the key insight that I just wanted to emphasize. It's internationally transferable, has value internationally to the people who take it. The work that we're doing with the Capital Markets Authority tries to sort of link a lot of those concepts about leadership and culture change and technical skills together. So it's a big program. Capital markets are growing. They're growing in size and complexity. And regulators across these markets are needing to scale up and skill up in order to meet that challenge. And in Kenya, the 10-year master plan is an enormously ambitious and I wouldn't say it's a complex document, but there's a lot in it, and that's a huge challenge for any regulatory agencies to want to undertake. So we're very pleased to be supporting that capacity development process at the CMA. And so our sort of high-level impact goal is sort of couched in language that talks about increased mobilisation and channeling of capital to underinvested opportunities in the economy. That's what we want to do. We want to help these markets. Firstly, more innovation. So markets need to be more innovative in order to create the products that attract savers and investors into the markets. There needs to be more competition. With more competition, prices come down, and so markets become more accessible, and that's obviously a critical part of market development. And markets need to engender more confidence, which is another way of saying that is trust. So those three things are quite a high-level set of outcomes we're trying to achieve, which is more innovation, more competition, and critically more trust.
And back to my principal theme here today, which is doing good, rather than just looking at this as transactional, as just passing a qualification to license you to do something. But it's actually why is the Capital Market Authority doing that? Because it wants to build a good, properly regulated capital market with integrity. And why do you want one of those? Because actually the impact it can have on your country and all the people living within it. And therefore that is a good thing. I meet a lot of regulators in my job, a lot of central bankers, a lot of people in authority, a lot of senior management in banks. And by and large, frankly, it's those people will tell people what to do, but they won't do it themselves. And that's actually natural. I wouldn't expect the CEO of a bank to necessarily take a qualification. They've probably gone beyond that point. But for a regulator to embrace the qualifications in the way that your CMA has is unusual and very creditable. And their pass rates were very good, which again would give you sort of confidence not only in their integrity as people for having the bravery to take the qualification, but for their technical knowledge too. Well, it blends, because if you think about financial services products, they're basically the same the world over. You know, a share in a company is a share in a company, a bond is a bond. Most financial instruments are pretty much the same globally, so a lot of content is quite appropriately global. On the other hand, you have Kenyan law, Kenyan regulation, specific emphasis perhaps on different products in Kenya, and the exams have been tailored to the local market. So as I say, this is not a one-size one-fits-all solution. This isn't like buying your suit just off the rack. This is actually going to the tailor, and the tailor is helping build something that is actually built for Kenya, not just for any country.
We're working with excellent support from Financial Sector Deepening Africa, FSDA, who are a Pan-African Sub-Saharan Africa support program. So they have been working with Kenya as the pilot to develop a certification program with a view to extending that for use across the wider EAC so that it can further support the implementation of the East African Common Market Protocol, so we can have free movement of services, free movement of investment, free movement of money across the borders.
Who are you targeting?
Now, the target of the stage 1 is any person employed in a financial market intermediary who has direct client contact or direct involvement with trading activities and who has less than 10 years capital markets experience is required to sit the exam or sit an equivalent exam. As it stands, only the CISI program has been mandated by the authority, but we're engaging with market intermediaries in order to be able to recognize alternative programs that are also being considered. Adoption of this as the international standard for Kenya is a critical step in moving Kenya forward in our ambitions to become an international financial center, and more importantly for the capital markets to become the heart of capital markets in Africa.